Trevor Walsh here, The Truth with Trevor, Impeccable Defense. We are interviewing Richie Rich, as he said I'm allowed to call him, by the way. He gave me permission, but no one else is allowed to call him that. I'm just going to call him Richter. How do you say your last name properly?
Taljaard, which is an Afrikaans. It's Afrikaans for Taylor. So that's awesome. So actually, if I were English, I would be Richard Taylor.
Richard Taylor. I'm going to call you Richter Taljaard. How does that sound?
That sounds just about perfect.
Okay, good. So anyways, we wanted to do just a nice little interview and have Richter talk about his company, which I believe, and I think everyone within the space of less than lethal or non-lethal, whether you're law enforcement, military, private citizens, he's going to go into a lot of this, but everyone that's in the industry and has been in the industry for a while knows that Duke Defense is pretty much the standard by which everything else is measured by, with chemical projectiles and everything, 68 caliber. So I'm going to let him get into the nitty gritty. We're going to just bounce ideas and questions back and forth. We had a dialogue the other day. I'm one of 5 or 6 dealers in the United States. He's branching into the retail industry more now. And so I'm really excited. I think when I founded Impeccable Defense, I did it for one reason, and that was to save lives. It wasn't to play in the paintball arena, which I have a lot of friends that do, and that's great, but that wasn't my goal. My goal was to make sure a single mom with 2 kids could go to the grocery store and have a non-lethal choice or an option to be able to give her enough time and ability to get to safety if a violent situation arises. That's it. I mean, there's no secret. That's what we're about. And I believe that Duke Defense is the #1 in the world, and they are the standard by which everything else is measured by. So Richter is obviously the CEO, and I'll let him give us a quick overview of the company. It's all yours.
Thank you very much. Yeah, Trevor, I think to take it back a bit, we started the business in 2007. We saw the opportunity to import some paintball pistols, which was at that stage manufactured in China. We contacted the Chinese supplier. We did an OEM deal with them. They did a private brand for us, and we brought in 50 guns, and they sold out very quickly. We brought in another 50, 100, 150, 200, 500, 500, and then we started making our own ammunition. That was way back in 2008, and pretty soon we realized that it's not easy to make it, and it's not fun to make it. It's a difficult job, and it's also a dirty job. So you need to be quite clever when you make these things, and we've put a massive amount of safety precautions into our factory, into our facility, to protect the people that work there, and we've automated as much as we can to minimize the human contact on the irritants. So yeah, so we've been dealing with the irritants for, I guess, since 2008. So that's about 14 or 15 years, if I'm not mistaken. So we've got a lot of history on it. I used to make these pepper balls myself when we were still very small. We used to be able to make 1,000 a day. And we started out in a dentist's office. There we got kicked out of there very quickly, and then we had to actually fork out some money to get a little facility. And once we had our facility up and running, these things started happening. And yeah, so we've been at it for a while now. We've got quite a few products on the market. We branched out into pepper throwables, which we'll discuss in a bit, as well as some self-defense devices. We've got some agreements with some well-known brands out there in the world, and we've got some agreements with some OEMs, some equipment manufacturers, which make stuff for the Duke brand. Some of the guys are in India, some are in Pakistan, some are in China, some are in the US, some are in South America. So it all depends. The company is quite globally connected. I think we've historically we've made ammunition for approximately 40 governments. Some of them in Africa, some of them in the Middle East, some of them in Europe. We've done stuff with a lot of the US-based agencies. We've got a 3-year deal with the biggest municipality in the US, which is San Diego Police. I think we've sold to probably every South American country, and even the Hong Kong police. So the Hong Kong police has used our product in their riots a couple of years ago, we've got very positive feedback from the law enforcement guys. They say that they use less of the product because it is more effective. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of the key factors, one of the key cost-saving factors from the police side, is they came back and they said, look, we used to use someone else's product and we used to fire 10 rounds at a person, and now we're firing 3 and we're getting the exact same effect. What are you doing right? And we're kind of just sitting on the IP and just saying, well, we don't really want to give away too much, but the products are very, very well thought out, and the products are very well put together, and they're very effective. And most of the stuff that we've done, we've actually done from an experiential point of view. We do use some of the universities for our HPLC testing. And our gas chromatography testing. So we do run through the standards that's required from the agencies, and we give those reports to them. And yeah, I think that's that. To branch out from your kitchen table to a company with over 100 employees, yeah, it takes time and it takes effort, and you make mistakes along the way. And we've had our share of mistakes as well, but for the most part of it, we've been blessed, and we've been quite successful. And I think that's the main thing is, you shouldn't take too much of the credit yourself. Where we've been really, really blessed by God.
Yeah, I love your company background and getting to know you in the last call and this call, and I just think the products and everything stand on their own merits. I mean, you go through all the different groups throughout the United States and some in Canada and different places, and you see people posting about different, chemical projectiles and stuff like that. And everything always comes back to Duke. I mean, it does. I mean, there's different ones that try to be Duke and this and that, but at the end of the day, there's Duke Defense, and pretty much they're the standard. So what would you like to talk about next? Would you like to get right into the different irritants, the different projectiles, or would you like to talk about the throwables? We can go whatever direction you would like to do, but I would definitely like to talk about the differences in the 3 irritants, projectiles, and why, the standard plus and then the extreme, what the differences are, and why you say the extreme is better than the plus is better than the standard. As far as I'm concerned, and you can tell me if I'm right or wrong when we get into this, and that is, it looks to me like extreme is pretty much the way to go. I mean, for a person with my viewpoint, where I'm just making sure mom or dad or whoever gets home safely to their kids or with their kids, and it's a self-defense product, not a paintball thing, but a self-defense product. It seems like extreme is pretty much, I don't know, 9 times out of 10 the right choice. You can go with that any direction you want, Richie.
Yeah, I think Trevor, I think the main thing here is when we look at self-defense, we want to make sure that we stop these guys right off the bat. You don't want to give the guy a chance to keep on attacking you. You must really discourage him immediately, and that's the main thing of the self-defense type of round, or the self-defense type of mixture that we're trying to put out into the market, is something that will attack this guy on a couple of levels. Number one, obviously, it'll attack his eyesight, so you won't be able to open his eyes. And that usually lasts for about 20 minutes. The second thing is
What was that again? How long does that normally last?
Approximately 20 minutes.
Okay.
Anything between 15 and 20 minutes. It depends on how much of the active ingredient he actually gets into his eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second thing is the persistence of the cloud, and that has got an impact on his lungs. So the more he breathes this stuff in, the more he will cough, the more he will convulse. So he will start wanting to throw up. And it's difficult to fight or to attack someone if you're actually trying to, if you're convulsing, if you're trying to throw up. Because it messes with your fight or flight process that's going on in your head. All of a sudden you're panicky, you can't see, you're disoriented, everything is burning, your eyes are burning, if you have a knife in your hands, it's difficult because now what are you going to do with your hands? Are you going to rub your eyes? Are you going to keep on attacking this person? Are you going to throw the knife away? You have to put yourself in the attacker's shoes and start understanding what's going on in his head, and the decision processes that this guy all of a sudden has to make. And he's got a couple of decisions to make. The problem with these things sometimes is that the attackers are under the influence of alcohol or drugs, which impedes their ability to make a decision. And when it impedes their ability to actually make a decision, they will stick to decision number one, which is keep on attacking.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of write-up, there's a lot of papers on the internet that actually discusses this and says, yeah, alcohol doesn't, it doesn't affect people when they are drunk. It doesn't affect people when they are on drugs. Yes, that's true, but it doesn't affect them because their decision-making capability has been impeded by the actual alcohol or the drugs. So they will keep on attacking you, even though they are going through this painful process, even though their eyes are being burnt and their throat is being burnt and their sinus is being burnt and everything. They've got fluids, running out of their eyes, and they've got fluids running out of their ears and out of their noses, and they're coughing and they're convulsing. But at the end of the day, they will still keep on attacking you, and that's basically just because their whole fight or flight reaction has been dulled by alcohol or by drugs. So you've got to also take that into account when you start defending yourself. Is when you defend yourself with a less lethal product, with a less lethal launcher, with a less lethal weapon, and this guy keeps attacking you, the decision is simple: run away.
Yeah.
Do not. This thing gives you 10 seconds. It gives you 15 seconds to be able to make a decision to save yourself. You can grab your kid. You can get out of the way. You can grab another weapon. You can hit the guy.
Amen.
With a bat, or you can grab a pan, or you can push him over or something. But it gives you time to make decisions, and the decision would be either attack back, or see what he's doing, or get out of there. And my first rule is always get out of there. Do not pass go. Do not pick up $200. Just leave.
I just wanted to throw something really quick, because that really is the whole premise of everything we stand on, and what I think less than lethal or non-lethal is about. And I think some people get it confused, and some people I know they've came to you with the same objections. They come to me. I have lots of friends and family in law enforcement and military. They come to them the same way. But all my friends that are cops or their wives that have purchased Byrna or other non-lethal, less than lethal devices or products from me all say the same thing. It's the way to go. It is absolutely the way to go, because your goal with a less than lethal or non-lethal device of any type, no matter what it is not to kill the person or take a life. It's to give you time to get to safety. People forget that. They're like, I'll just stick with my own way. I got a gun. I'm like, hey, have you watched the Kyle Rittenhouse case lately? A gun could land you 25 years in prison if you make the wrong choice. And coming from a law enforcement family, I'll tell you what, someone stealing your car is not a reason to take a life. You know, someone robbing you is not a reason, unless you're in threat of your life and you can prove it to a jury of your peers without one of them being woke. You're probably going to be in a lot of trouble and have a very expensive lawyer bill to pay. And my only thing is that what you just said is exactly the crux of less than lethal, in my opinion. And that is, it gives the person, it gives me, my wife, my kids, you, anybody that buys this product, some time to get to safety and have some other options. For me, myself, I carry lethal and non-lethal because I'm legally allowed. So I have different options. If it escalated to where I had to use lethal force, I'm educated, I'm fully trained, and I can. Do I want to? Absolutely not. If I can let the cops take care of business, that's what I want.
Yeah, let them. They are supposed to be the defender of the guy who cannot defend himself. The problem is that the police usually take a bit of time to get there. So these things escalate and de-escalate within a minute. And the police won't be able to get there 90% of the time before it escalates and de-escalates. So you're on your own. I would definitely carry something if I were you. We've got different types of products that we can carry, but some of our things are designed for inside buildings, and some of our things are designed for outside buildings. Some of our things are specifically designed for self-defense. Some of our things are specifically designed for law enforcement, for arrest assist, or for correctional services use, or for a less than lethal option when you're penetrating a building, or when you're using force continuum. So we've got quite a few products in our range, and then obviously some of the things that we also do, which is not in the chemical space, is we make body armor as well. So we manufacture our own line of body armor, and that's all certified by different international certification boards, and we supply them, we export them all over the globe, exactly like we export our normal products. And we've made thousands and thousands and thousands of these things, and we've saved many lives. We've got a little policy in-house in South Africa that if your guard is shot and you want to replace that panel, we'll replace that shot panel for free, provided you bring us the panel with the rounds in and your story. And we've got a few stories hanging on the wall where we've actually saved guys' lives, and that's at the end of the day, that's there's nothing that gives you the satisfaction that will give you, that you were able to save someone's life and that your product was the intervention. Look, we're one of thousands of body armor manufacturers in the world, but still we stick to our product, and we believe in our product. I think our product is very good, and it's globally accepted.